What's the worst case of main character syndrome you've witnessed? My brother's girlfriend, Vanessa, showed up at the hospital while my wife was literally in active labor. We'd been there for 6 hours. My wife, Diane, was in so much pain, squeezing my hand until my fingers went numb. The contractions were getting closer together, and the nurses kept saying, "Any minute now." I texted my family to let them know the baby was coming soon. This was our first baby. Diane had been terrified for weeks about the delivery. She'd had complications earlier in the pregnancy, and every contraction felt like it lasted forever. I was trying so hard to be strong for her, but honestly, I was scared too. Seeing the person you love in that much pain and not being able to do anything about it, it's the worst feeling in the world. Between contractions, Diane would look at me with these exhausted eyes and whisper, "I can't do this." And I'd tell her she absolutely could, that she was the strongest person I knew, that we were about to meet our daughter. Then another wave would hit, and she'd grip the bed rails so hard I thought they'd break. Then Vanessa burst through the door. Not my brother, just her. She was crying hysterically, mascara running down her face, clutching her hand like it was broken. For a second, I thought something horrible had happened, like maybe there was a car accident, or my brother was hurt. My heart dropped. But then she saw Diane in the hospital bed and goes, "Oh my God, I'm so glad there's a doctor here." Then she shoved her hand in my face. "Look at this. I think I need emergency surgery." I looked at her hand. It was a hangnail, a tiny hangnail on her thumb. I just stared at her, trying to process what was happening. Diane had another contraction and literally screamed in pain. The nurses rushed over to check her. And Vanessa, I swear to God, Vanessa started crying louder, saying, "I can't handle this stress, I'm going to pass out." One of the nurses, this older woman named Patricia, who'd been amazing with Diane all day, turned to Vanessa and said very calmly, "Ma'am, this is a labor and delivery ward. You need to go to urgent care." Her voice had that tone that said she'd dealt with this exact type of person 1,000 times before. Vanessa goes, "But I'm bleeding." She wasn't. There was no blood, nothing. She held up her thumb like she was showing evidence at a trial. Patricia looked at me, then at Diane, then back at Vanessa. "Ma'am, I need you to leave, now." Vanessa refused. She actually sat down in the corner chair, whimpering and posting Instagram stories about her medical emergency with the caption, "Pray for me." She was filming everything, including my wife's contractions. I could see her phone aimed at Diane, recording her in the most vulnerable, painful moment of her life. I finally snapped, "Vanessa, get out right now." My voice came out harder than I'd ever heard it. Diane was sobbing between contractions, and this woman was treating my wife's labor like it was background footage for her social media pity party. Vanessa looked at me like I'd slapped her. "I can't believe you're being so insensitive when I'm clearly injured." Diane's doctor came in right then to check her progress. She took one look at Vanessa, then at me, and said, "Sir, do you know this person?" I shook my head. She nodded to Patricia, who called security. When Diane started pushing, Vanessa was still there, waiting for security. And she actually said, "Can you keep it down? I'm trying to focus on my breathing." Diane was bringing our child into the world, and this woman was telling her to be quiet. I saw red. I was about to physically remove her myself when my brother finally showed up and dragged her out. She was yelling, "I needed you," the whole way down the hall. I heard her voice echoing even as the door closed. My brother texted me later saying he was mortified, that he didn't know she'd come to the hospital, that he was so sorry. My daughter was born 20 minutes later. Vanessa posted about her hangnail before we could even announce the birth.